the general health changes I've
Mm-hmm.
experienced in terms of just feeling balanced. Like balanced is the best word I can say about
Yeah.
everything. Everything just is starting to feel balanced.
Welcome to the Clear Skin Chronicles, the podcast that takes you on a journey to uncover the secrets of achieving glowing, acne-free skin. We believe that knowledge is power, and by understanding the root causes of acne, we can create a solid foundation for long-lasting clear skin. I'm Katie Stewart, registered holistic nutritionist and founder of the Clear Skin Solution, where we help women just like you get to the root cause of their acne.
And I'm Chris Brown, registered holistic nutritionist and program director inside the Clear Skin Solution. Through functional testing, we pinpoint where the body system imbalances lie, so we can dive deep into the acne clearing journey.
We work virtually with clients to clear up their skin from the inside out and have helped thousands of women worldwide regain their confidence. So we're back for another episode of the Clear Skin Chronicles, and this is actually part of our series that we've been doing, the Real Skin, Real Journeys. Again, this series came together because women in our community on social media and also our own clients were like, can you please share stories of women that have gone through this journey, right? And I think it's so important to do that because you can see yourself in these women and you say, oh my gosh, me too. I'm not alone. So Karen, thank you so much for hopping on with us today. I know you're a busy mom. You got an 11-year-old son. You're also a PE teacher. And you said you teach, your school goes like from grade 4 to grade 12. So you're teaching all the ages.
Oh, I get them all. I get everyone.
You get everybody. So you get the whole gamut of age range. So,
Yeah.
you're no stranger to the different emotions and the different, handling of humans. And it's, and you're a mom on top of all of that. So I'm sure you're a busy woman over there.
Yeah. So little excitable kids that I get into the teenage years of
Oh my
hormone
goodness.
craziness beginning. And then when they start becoming adults, it's a pretty fun
That's
job
so
seeing them
fun.
through the phases.
Isn't that must be so rewarding, right? Is getting to watch these kids from grade 4 all the way up to becoming adults.
Yeah, being able to hang out with them for about 8 years of their life is pretty cool seeing them through the stages.
Karen, thank you so much for hopping on today. Like I said, it's been so exciting and so just rewarding from Chris and I's perspective to get to hear the journeys that everyone's had. And we're just so honored that not only have you worked with us in the Clear Skin Solution, but you're here sharing your story and being vulnerable, because it allows other women to say, oh my gosh, the same, like that's what's happening to me. And you corrected me because I said you're almost at 6 months, but how far in? You're at 5.5.
5.5, exactly.
5.5.
I think
I
like
can tell
to the day.
you're an organized lady. So you're like, no, I'm 5.5.
Generally, yeah.
So at the time of recording, Karen's been with us for about 5.5. You joined with us just before Christmas. And I would love for you to kind of walk us through, like before joining us, like what was your life like dealing with acne? Because you had been dealing with this for almost 30 years.
I know. I'm probably one of your older clients, I would say, like more in the upper ages because I'm 45. And so I started seeing acne come into my life, into those junior high years. So started with like speckling of acne on my forehead. And, as a teenager, those are the years that's tough. So I think I've gone through and tried literally everything in those 30 years where I've been on Accutane twice. With that is you're on birth control. I was on birth control for sure for a decade, if not probably longer in there. I've done every laser, every microneedling, everything that's like ended up with gauze on my face coming home, or I can't go out in public for a week because of the different lasers I've tried. And yeah,
You've tried it all.
I've tried it all.
You've tried it all. You're no stranger to the acne world because, of course, going through your file, like you've been dealing with this since about 1990, the early 90s, and here you are at 45. And I bet you never thought that still in your 40s you would be like struggling with acne.
Yeah, I didn't think acne and wrinkles were like things that were combined together.
They
I
were
was
a
thinking, yeah, I think you're done with that somewhere before that, but
no. Growing up with acne, were you ever told, oh, when you're older, it'll go away? Just when you're older, it'll be gone.
100%.
And at what age were you like, oh my gosh, I'm older now. What's going on?
Probably in my 30s. Like, once you're hitting 30 and you're like, really? Like, Really? I thought this was going to be going away. So I thought for sure about then. That was when I was like a light bulb, like, okay, I don't think this is going away
Hmm.
anytime easily.
And for you, had you tried, you talked about the medications you tried, you talked about, all of the facials, like you made some investments into your skin as most acne sufferers. Like I always tell the story that in a 5-year period, I had spent $10,000 on my face. And when you hear that number, you're like, oh my, what? There's no
But
way. But when you break it down, that's $2,000 a year or $167 a month. Now,
which is nothing.
which is nothing. Like how easy, I think I lowballed it to be honest.
Yeah.
How easy is it as an acne sufferer to spend $200 a month on your face?
Like
Like,
that's I think just like a dipping into the pocket, really.
yeah,
Like if
it's
I
just like,
think,
oh,
yeah, it's
here's a new skin routine to try. Here's a new laser I'm going to
exactly.
do. Here's a new this. And some of the acne treatments, like when you're looking at the lasers and the microneedling and PRP, like these can be thousands of dollars just in one treatment alone. And you were still, in your 40s struggling with acne. So before you had found us, of course, had you tried the healthy eating? Like, had you tried changing your diet? Had you taken that root cause approach yet?
I remember buying some book in my 20s.
Hmm.
It was a teal book. I had something to do with like a clear skin diet or something like that. So I know I like dove into it a little bit, but definitely not to the degree that I've been doing for the last 5.5 months.
Hmm. So, when you found us, you're like, oh, okay. I'm assuming, where did you find me? Instagram, I'm going to guess.
Yep,
Okay.
that's what I
I
did.
guess, I
Yep.
guess, right. Guess right. That's where I hang out a lot of time. So for you, what was that light bulb where like, you want to what? I'm going to give this a go. I've tried all these things. I'm going to try this root cause thing.
I think it was that I've tried all these things and I'm like, those things aren't working. Like there's something I am doing wrong. There's something that this is not hitting the mark. So we need to go somewhere different.
Hmm. And joining just before Christmas, a little Christmas gift to yourself. So nice, love that. And you got paired up to work with Callie, who I like to say is just like the sweetest human of life. Like she is so calm and so relaxing. And when you first joined and you came in, we got you set up. And what was those initial little like aha moments that you had? I would say in the beginning of your journey.
I think that it's going to be work. It's not going to be anything overnight, and that I'm going to have to be willing to put in the work. And if you're not ready to do that, then it's not going to work. And there's going to be hard days, and I'm going to have to find a way to get through them and be like, okay, this is hard. And if it's just temporary, or there are some things that I'm going to learn and probably change permanently, but not all of this is life changing. My diet, my routines, everything, always. This is something that I'm
Mhm.
doing for an amount of time, and yeah, I'm going to get through it. And I have a support system to get through it with me.
I love that. And I love that you had said in there is it's not for always, right? And that's kind of Chris's thing is it's a for now, not for always, right, Chris?
Absolutely. So no, it's good. And the other thing is we have to look at is up to in those 40 years, what else did you have? What have you experienced? What lifestyle factors, right? So I love that you said, you know what? Yeah, I have to do the work because I always say we're asking you to unlearn
Mm.
how many years plus relearn the holistic way while applying it. Sweet goodness, tie your shoes and walk all in the same day, right?
Yeah.
Of course, it doesn't go like that. We walk you through the steps and steps, but if you don't know how the heck can you fix it?
Right? It's because when you said I did something wrong, and I want to go back to that because you just didn't have the knowledge, right? You didn't have the knowledge of what was going on. You were trying all of the right things. It's just there was those missing pieces. So I would say it's not that you're doing something wrong. It's just you were missing some pieces.
Yeah,
And
that's
doing it
fair.
Western, right? Because that's what we know.
Hmm.
And it doesn't make Western philosophies wrong. It makes what we get told that this is the way we do it, right? We get told this is the pathway we trust when we're ill or when we have symptoms. So we apply it naturally. You said, I've had a couple rounds of Accutane. Well, that's a natural progression through Western philosophies. So
Hmm.
totally get it. And that's what I love what Katie just says is like, really, essentially, you just didn't know.
I think as a woman too,
Mm-hmm.
going to your Western doctor, is interesting. Like as a woman, I think I've learned to not always take things as absolute face value, and I need to advocate for myself and do research for myself. And I think the education and the work being done about women's health in particular has changed a lot in the last little bit. And we're pushing for more tests and studies and to be done about us.
Absolutely right. Especially because you've been struggling with this for well over 30 years now. I'm sure you've noticed over the decades when have you felt dismissed going into your doctor saying, hey, I'm dealing with this and it's not getting better, and they write a script and out the door you go.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of thing. Or, now I question some of the scripts that people are writing, and is that the dosage that a woman should have? Do we take into consideration their cycles? Are we doing certain things at different times of the cycles? Like there's so many things now that I think are tested on the average man that aren't necessarily tested the same way on a woman's day-to-day cycle.
I love that you're asking those questions. Like, I'm obsessed
I'm thinking,
with it,
who's coming after my job, Karen? Who's coming after my job here?
I'm liking these questions. She's advocating for herself. Can you tell she's a teacher though? Asking the questions.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's great. I honestly, like, my heart just gets all warm and fuzzy.
I was like,
yeah,
say more.
And I'm like,
more.
yeah, you keep going. I'm like that little person on your shoulder going, ask again, ask what. How many times are you written a script, say even for the Accutane, and you said, oh, okay, are there any side effects? Or how many times were the side effects announced to you?
And not very much. I remember my mom taking the doctor out into the hallway and like asking him more questions because it was almost that they were dismissive. And I remember being that it was just like, this is what you have to do. Do it. Here you go. Done. And I remember my mom going out in the hallway and speaking to him about it. So
really. And did you experience any side effects from the Accutane that you took?
I don't really remember. So, that's like my teenage years. So we're talking like 25 years ago, probably ish, in and around.
And you also had to take the birth control pill alongside. Did you notice any side effects from the pill?
Nothing significant. So like there was never anything significant with those medications other than, irritation and some redness, but I didn't have any really bad side effects, which is probably why I went back on it a second time.
Right.
Like I didn't experience anything, but it didn't work. Right. So, it was temporary.
Mm-hmm. So for you, you've tried all these things. You come and you join us. We run a hair trace mineral analysis on you. Were you surprised to learn what could be shown in your hair for your body? Did that surprise you at all? Or were you like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool?
I think more the second one where I thought, I believe in that. I believe that it's all connected, that your body is all connected. Like I am a phys ed teacher, so I do believe in health and wellness. I do live a pretty active, healthy life. We do eat fairly healthy as a family. But I believe in that kind of science and work for sure.
Yeah, I love that. Because
I love that you said science, because you know how many people say pseudoscience? No, it's science. Minerals are minerals. Your body is comprised of them. You don't have them, you don't have life. So
don't come at Chris, anyone. Don't come at her.
Like a big heart. Well, I'm not going to give a gold star. I'm going to give a big heart for that one. That one's good. Yeah, I like it.
So Chris, I want you to dig in because as you know, Chris is obsessed with minerals. It's her jam. So I would love for you to share like some insights into Karen's HTMA and what were those missing pieces for her that she just didn't know about.
So Karen had I call it like a sexy file. And
a sexy file.
Yeah, a sexy file. Sexy file, because anything that gets my brain going where it's like, really? One of the things is there wasn't one occurrence. There was a couple occurrences with kidney stones. So I go in with like that naked eye, that raw perspective. Like when we're looking at the minerals, we can see, when the files come in. So one of the things as you were going through your journey and you're taking the things to help with, whatever it is, the antibiotics, the doxy, like you said, the topicals, all of these things. Did anyone ever consider the kidney stones and part of this health journey?
Absolutely never. It was kind of just like, oh, maybe it's a little bit too much calcium in your diet. Watch
or
that.
sodium, oopsie, maybe, cut down on, Yeah.
Maybe you'll get them again in about 10 years. Maybe it's kind of like that thing you're going to have to deal with every like decade. So that was about the conversation.
Which is really cool because in the hair analysis, calcium was high, sodium was low, selenium was high. These are all cofactors with kidney stones.
Yes. So that was definitely for sure a light bulb moment when I saw that.
You're
I'm
like,
like,
whoa, wait a
yeah.
minute. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
That's where
High
it comes from.
unavailable calcium. What the heck? If it's not going where it needs to go, it circulates, causes a lot of havoc. It even disrupts iron. So when you came in, I would always say, hey, how's your energy? And you
Mhm.
have any bouts of fatigue? And then people go,
Yeah.
yeah, well, my life is hectic and I have this. And, I take my son here and and I'm physically
Teaching phys ed.
involved. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay, hang tight. Right. So that's just something that is so super interesting because when we look at the whole schematic of where it is, you're here for acne. And the very first protocol we do, we go rogue. We're like, what? What's happening? We didn't technically go after acne per se,
Hmm.
definitely the triggers. Where did we go?
Yeah. Oxalate right towards my kidneys.
Yeah, we got to give these kidneys some love because the kidneys, they hold things like fear. The kidneys, they hold and perpetuate symptoms like acne. So, hello, right? So, selenium, just for everybody to know, because if I didn't do a geek moment, I'm not doing the world justice.
Of
Katie's like
course,
going
I
to take
know.
a nap here.
I'm going to go
So,
get another matcha. It's fine. I'm out of mine. I need more.
I like this learning. Teach me
Yay.
more.
I hear it all day, so don't mind me. I hear it
yeah,
all day.
she does. She gets a lot of cat
I get a
naps.
lot of Chris in a day, so.
So
Fair.
selenium, and it's a cofactor. It's called selenoproteins. So really, which acts as a regulation, say, to the thyroid metabolism, the enzymatic antioxidant defense, and the immune system. You better believe we need all of these to have clear skin.
Hmm.
There's also interference or, and this is why sometimes we probe and say, hey, can you go to your doctor, try and get serum selenium? And people are like, what? I've never heard of that. Right? We need to know where that is. Is it floating? Is it causing issues? If you have things like mercury, you did have a bit of mercury, heavy
Hmm.
metals. Mercury's an antagonist to selenium. How the heck can you create that beautiful harmony to support the detoxification of your liver, to support the thyroid? Anyways, long story short, I won't bore everybody. I just think it's really cool that, when we look at, is this a true deficiency? Are we doing the best, right? When I see things in your file, like you wake up in the middle of the night hungry,
Mhm.
I'm like, oh my gosh, blood sugar dysregulation,
Hmm.
kidneys, filtering, blood, is it clean? All of these things, right? How many people, when you come into a program, say, Karen, eat more?
Mm.
Eat more, please? And you're like, what?
So many women we undereat. Like I put myself in that category as well. Like I
Mm-hmm.
struggle with undereating because we get so busy. We're doing with the kids, we have work, whatever it may be, and we just literally forget to eat in a day.
Mm-hmm.
And eat slowly.
And yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right? Hello, digestion. Everybody, you want the number one free advice that can alter your digestion for the benefit? Chew your food to a pace like consistency. Chew for that poo.
Not wolfing it down in the car as you're getting your kid to the next sport.
Okay,
Or if you
so
have to do
maybe I
that,
did
you're
that.
just chewing, 30 times.
Quickly. Yeah, you're just
Chew.
chewing real quick.
Yeah. No, I love it. So I love that, you came in and we kind of went, you probably shook your head a little bit like, what the heck? Callie would have done a fantastic job in creating a protocol to tell you why we wanted to do these certain
Hmm.
things.
Hmm.
It's never to go back and insult it. So not only are you seeing the benefits and the gains, right? The goal is we don't want those kidney stones back. They're not fun.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
No.
Like, how can
Mm-mm.
we explain it? Childbirth from the kidneys.
No
Yeah, like
thanks.
I think kidneys were worse than childbirth.
Yeah, everybody says that. It's
I haven't
not
had them
enjoyable.
myself, knock on wood, but I've given birth, so I'm like, oh, mm-mm.
So I
Not
just want to
fun.
say to everybody, here's one little cofactor, whether it's oxalates, which are foods that can go in and they can kind of like bind.
Yeah,
to think
oxalates, right? Because not a lot of
oxalates.
people talk about oxalates, where,
Mm-mm.
especially in relation to acne, I'm sure, Karen, you'd never heard someone say, hey, Karen, you got acne, so maybe we got to look at your oxalates.
Never. Definitely not a frequent word in my vocabulary.
No. So, Chris, can we really
Mm-mm.
break down like what is an oxalate and how was it impacting Karen's body?
Essentially, I'm going to keep this really easy. So an oxalate is found in foods. In fact, it's found in a lot of superfoods, and we see them all over the place. Now, this doesn't have to be really mindful for everybody. Some people can do really well, but if you have a case history of kidney stones, and I've had a client who's had kidney stones since the age of 10.
Ooh,
Knock on wood, she hasn't had them in 3 years.
knock on wood.
Right? However, this is the thing. They're going to keep coming back because we have the insult. So an oxalate found in very many superfoods, it really can go and it almost encapsulates the benefit of that specific food and makes it now an enemy to the body. And then we're not getting great things. We're not getting that calcium in that we need to, or we're overeating, or dairy. And, you know, not for the dairy community that's like, dairy's really good. I'm talking specifically kidneys. That dairy or that high calcium can be an issue. It gets displaced. One of the minerals we never talk about enough is magnesium.
Love magnesium.
Love magnesium. Magnesium helps calcium into the bones. It helps blood sugar regulation. No more waking up at night. Not only do you get to eat more, what if we supplement something like specifically for your file, but what if we supplement, say, with, there's 7 different magnesiums, everybody. I'm not going to go through all of them, but what if we supplement with the right magnesium? Do we have an opportunity now? Right? So I love this. So that's kind of how that all goes. However, what I loved about your file is your selenium was like, your calcium was like, and I'm just pointing for everybody. It's like through
people
the roof.
not on YouTube. She's pointing through the roof.
And pointing through the roof. And then the cofactors to assist the biosynthesis, or, you know, the synergy, were deficient. So it doesn't take anybody of anything to go, okay, if this isn't bioavailable and this is deficient, how do we do this? Increase the deficiency to help the biosynthesis get to the body. Right? So, and I mean, when you were on your first protocol, let me just ask, did you start seeing any changes?
Well, one change I for sure started noticing was just like a little bit more stable energy. I also was someone that suffered a lot from canker sores and strep throat. And I usually get strep throat every winter, but I went through my entire winter without having strep throat. And I haven't had a single canker sore since I started the program. So
with all those humans that you're around. Oh, hello, selenium and immune system and calcium and oxalates. Oh my gosh. Okay, keep going. Yeah, that's so exciting.
Yeah, so between energy level, my general health, and then I would say like there wasn't any bloating. I would say that my blood sugar seemed really stable throughout the day. And like a little bit of inflammation, irritation. So I'd say my skin color didn't seem so red and irritated and sensitized all the time. So I did notice that almost like pretty much right away with that first focus.
I love how you say sensitized too. Ashley, the esthetician, is all over how to delineate that between, you know, your skin. Sometimes it's sensitive or desensitized, right? And all of that redness as well. Heat. Why do we have so much heat in the body? So you had enough markers in there to say this is not okay.
Definitely.
Right? I love it. Energy. Come on. Who wouldn't? I watch my kids sometimes. Yeah. And I'm just like, I envy you. Of that. Like, yeah.
My kid's up at 5:45. Mom, did you know this world record? I'm like, buddy, it's like chill. Mommy needs a second to get up.
Or the analogy of kids running out of a school day still with all kinds of energy, bounce into the bus or their parents' car. And I'm like, I'm done.
I need a nap. How are you? Like, oh my gosh. Like, it is wild. So I love for you, you know, we finally found those missing puzzle pieces, right? Looking at the HTMA, you know, having it review the licensed clinician and then seeing those imbalances where, hey, not only are there issues with the oxalates where we need to be looking at that, but also looking at your gut microbiome. Because after we, worked through the low oxalates, we had to rebalance your gut microbiome. And how did you find going through that style of protocol?
Hard. It's hard. It's honestly like
It's hard.
That's why I said you have to be ready to put in the work because it's hard. Callie will tell you probably one of the messages I sent to her, and I'm like, what can I what is an okay cheat? Can you please tell me what is the least
Anything.
bad cheat? I'm like, is it chickpeas? Can I have chickpeas? Something? Can I have something different? And she was like, no.
Nope.
And she just had to talk me off the ledge. But I was on a ledge where I was like, I just give me like a little carrot, please. Give me a little something.
Because it's and like I've Chris has done them, I've done them, so I know what you're talking about. Even me being a nutritionist, I'm like, these suck. Like they plain just suck. They're not fun to do. Because we have to remember that it's a for now, not a forever. I always give this analogy of if you broke your arm, you have to put it in a cast. You don't get to use it for a little while. You're gonna have to go to physio, and then it's going to be 8 to 12 weeks before you can take the thing off. And this is the same thing that we're doing with just a different part of our body. We're saying, hey, there's an imbalance in our gut. We have, if we're using this analogy, we got to cast it up, we got to immobilize it, and we got to stop the things that are causing it pain, which in this case, going through and looking at your gut microbiome, because you have the history of the birth control and the antibiotics and this, dealing with the acne over the last 30 years, we know that the microbiome is such a really big component. But I love for you, you said it is hard. So validating that it's not always going to be easy, but holding that why of why you're doing it can be really, really helpful for getting you through those more therapeutic protocols.
And I think there's never going to be a right time, a perfect time. Like I started December 20th. I started, with Callie's first recommendations right away. And that's
At
like
Christmas.
At Christmas, through the holidays, into the new year. We went through spring break, traveling to Mexico. And I took all of the work and put it in, and just trying to tell myself that this is temporary and there's never a right time. And, but what if this is a solution? What if this does work? So just trying to have some of those mantras that you keep telling yourself, because there's times when you want to throw in the towel and be like, I need something that I'm so used to going for, but having your backups, being prepared, and just digging in.
And so now that you're on the side of, I would say when we do any type of gut rebalancing, because there's tons of gut rebalancing that can be done, right? Candida and SIBO and different this and different that. And there's some of the most challenging protocols to do because you are temporarily removing foods and you are taking a number of supplements because it's a really intensive thing to have to do. So now that you're on the other side of that, right? You did low oxalates, you did microbiome. Was it worth it? Like going through all of that, like what are the shifts that you have and was that work you put in worth it?
Yeah. So like right now, like I'm still just in the reintroduction phase in my GM protocol. So I absolutely think it was worth it. Absolutely. I would and I know I might end up having to do it again. Like I've been suffering from acne for over 30 years. So I'm not saying that my journey is going to be like, here are these hardcore 4 weeks and then the reintroductory phase of the GM protocol is going to be one and done. I know now that this is definitely something that's going to be a process, but I've noticed amazing changes so far where it's more consistent and balanced just in terms of everything in my life, including my skin. So I've seen great side effects so far on the positive side.
You have a lot of, and I'm going to use the word again, you have a lot of sexy words. And I'm really big on words. So if I'm giving you like sexy words, like that is like a big deal. Why?
Okay.
Because you said, what if it works? Instead of telling yourself, I don't know, I've spent a lot of money on myself I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know. What if it works?
What if it does?
What if, and when you're having those moments and you're like, oh my gosh, you're getting the voodoo doll out. It says Callie. You're like ready. You're like liberated. And then you're like, wait a minute. Do I really need to go to these extremes or this mindset or what if it works? Right. And then outside of that, you're like, hey, you know what? I've been going through this journey for 45 years, not with acne, but your life journey, right? Because it's a commitment of your life journey that compounds all these different triggers and insults and happiness, like eustress. Like a wedding is eustress, it's still stress, but all of these collectives, and you're like, I may have to reapply this later on because I understand I have compounded factors. This right here, sustainable talk. This is what, like, when you're ready to graduate, and sometimes I say to clients, I'm a little nervous right now, and I'm going to be totally transparent. Like, I'm like ready to get your wings on, like they're getting fitted for their final stages, like a wedding dress. We're brushing them up, like you're ready to fly. Like, this is so beautiful. When honestly, like
getting my gold star.
you have a gold star.
2 gold stars
like,
for Karen
sustainable
today, everybody.
talk. This is a big deal, and we don't naturally come with sustainable talk. It is something of an application we have to go through. And I'm going to give your mom a little credit here too, because when she escorted that doctor out and she had a conversation without you there, that was a proactive step. And, you know, that part of that sustainability is one of those qualities maybe that you're getting from your mom, right? To just start asking questions whenever. So I think you've got like a kind of dynamic team there too. So when those days are hard, I mean, hello, who doesn't love support? So not only are you talking the talk, you've set yourself up with the support and the longevity, and that's what makes it all sexy.
Yeah, and my family's been on board. My husband and son have been trying the different foods that I'm trying, not necessarily sticking with them. Sometimes we're making a couple of different meals, and that's okay. But, you know, they've been on board the whole time and helping me through these months too.
And I really love when moms take this on for themselves, because it creates such this incredible ripple effect into the rest of their family, because you're really just leading by example, right? Like, your son is seeing you take care of yourself and put yourself first, and, you know, invest in yourself and treat your body with self-love and respect by feeding it well. And we have no idea how that's going to be, that ripple effect, right? How your son is seeing you do this is going to impact him in his future life as well.
Yeah. And I think the general health changes I've experienced in terms of just feeling like balance. Like, balance is the best word I can say about everything. Everything just is starting to feel balanced.
And for you, you know, outside of your skin wins that you've had, what were some of those non-skin wins that you were kind of not expecting, what were like pleasantly surprised?
For sure. Like, the canker sore one was a big one. Like, I think I would have a canker sore every other week.
And they're not fun.
They're not fun. Like, they're annoying to talk through. And I obviously spend my day talking with children. So just to like have that annoyance, always something in my mouth. And they were just little tiny canker sores. They were like huge canker sores that felt like they got bigger and worse before they got better. And to not dealing with that at all in the last 6 months has been something I just don't have to think about anymore. You know, my sleep has been consistent, so I'm waking up a lot less at night. And so, you know, with the balanced blood sugar and the more consistent sleep, the increase in energy is awesome.
Yeah, like we said, who doesn't want more energy?
Yeah, now Karen's hopping to the bus.
Yeah, Karen's excited. She's like, hello, everybody.
Right? And this is all without coffee, because I have no coffee allowed in my protocol right now, and I like my coffee.
Yep. Chris is like, I feel you on that one.
Okay, so we have a team coffee here. Okay, we do collect. We do collect the team.
We're keeping
coffees.
Tally whether you're matcha or coffee.
Yeah, Katie has the matcha cold, and I have team coffee. Don't
see.
Save yourself.
We've talked about this, Chris.
Save
We've
yourself.
talked about this. Don't mind her. She's just exaggerating. It's delicious.
Well, I'm interested in what's going to happen when I'm allowed to reintroduce it, because
Share that, Chris.
Haven't needed it.
Okay, so
this is a great question. I love
you can look at it as an enjoyment. Caffeine is addictive at the end of the day. So you have a couple options. Like myself, I'm about to go off caffeine.
You didn't warn me, Chris.
Oh, just wait. I'm going to do it on a Friday too. Just
stop.
For you.
No, you didn't warn me. I need to prepare. I need to mentally prepare myself. Okay.
Spring, summer, we have more daylight. We have more happy, happy light, right? It gets us
Hmm.
going. It gets us energized, these types of things. So I looked through the entire freezer. There's one bag. Actually, it was from Katie at Christmas. I got a little gift
I did get you
and
coffee.
I ground it all up. And I'm like, we're going to go through this. We're done, right? I'm not going to have stuff in there that's going to tempt me. One. And I'm going to get to that in a second, but I'm just trying to explain the whole process just as a whole, because you'll probably go through this later on. So I'm going to get rid of the temptation. I have the purchasing power, so I don't need to purchase it. I know it's addictive. I know I'm going to go through about 3 days of withdrawal where I will not human. I will make sure it starts on a Friday and I'll reclimatize and start work back on a Monday.
Thank you.
Katie is going to move the podcast date now. Just
We're
on
canceling
that.
it. We're canceling it before that day.
No, because of withdrawals, it's addiction. The withdrawals come forth.
Mhm.
However, I'm going to utilize our natural environment to help that recovery, that energy. I'm going to go sit outside. I don't have to be lambasting, in the sun and stuff, but I get to take in the nature. I'm going to go on walks. I'm already setting myself up for that. So my question to you, Karen, is, do you have to add coffee back in? One,
Hmm.
right? By your
She's like,
face. By your
yes.
face. I already know. Chris, I would love
She
to.
doesn't like that option. Let's go to option 2.
Then look about it at this. Can we go with reduced, like 12 ounces? We overdo, right?
Hmm.
We're anywhere between 16 and 20 ounces of coffee.
Yeah, it's not a cup. Like if you actually measured 1 cup of coffee, you're like, what is that? A shot of espresso? Like that's not a cup.
Yeah, I think Katie uses a full on soup bowl for her matcha just to get, today
It's
it's an
almost
actual
half the
cup.
size of my head.
See? So do you see what we do, Karen? I'm just trying to
Yeah.
do a little bit of coaching into this, just so everybody hears it too. Outside of this, if you want to, start it. And then if you feel like you're starting to increase it, be aware of those triggers, be aware of that addictive like behavior, and then just space it out every other day. Or maybe we don't start every day, and don't go after 12 p.m.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And watch your symptoms. Like, are you getting jittery? Are
Hmm.
you not sleeping as well? Do you find you have worsening anxious feelings? It's like watching those, especially the emotional, mental symptoms, can be really, really insightful to how your body deals with caffeine, and especially having it earlier in the day. Or like for you, Karen, is it that you like the experience of having a coffee, or you like the energy you get from it?
I think it's more the warm drink and cozy drink in the morning. And
Right?
I've been having tea, so I'm happy with my tea. Other than those first few days, I really didn't miss it. So honestly, it was the first 2, 3 days, and then I've been fine ever since. So, yeah, I've been enjoying my tea, and we'll see if that can continue.
So for me, because I like the experience of having a coffee. Like I like the whole ritual of it. I don't have it that often, but when I do, I will generally opt for a decaf because I like the taste, I like the
Hmm.
flavor, I like the making of it, but I don't necessarily need the extra caffeine in the day, so I'll opt for a decaf. Or you could, and if we are getting a decaf, just for everybody listening, making sure you're looking for Swiss water decaffeinated, because like the majority of coffee is decaffeinated through a chemical bath, which we don't want. So look for Swiss water decaffeination if you are going to go that route. And like decaf still contains a little bit of caffeine, but at least you're getting that experience. Or you could even look for like a half calf, like half
And I
caffeine,
think
half
I
decaf.
thought it was giving me a jolt in the morning, but
Mm,
it turns out it really probably wasn't, because I feel more energized now doing these things. So
hmm
it wasn't the coffee. And I think I probably feel
Yeah.
better without it. So I think we'll just have to see how that plays
Yeah.
out.
We always recommend to everybody. It's up to the individual.
Yeah. Here's something when you're ready to try it, because we know you're going to do it, Karen. I saw the face. I saw
At
the,
one point.
I picked up the cue. What about, looking at a dandelion tea
Oh, a
Hmm.
dandy blend.
and then halving it with the coffee? Because dandelion root has a similar bitterness of coffee.
hmm
And if you're already used to it, it's a nice, and then you can still get that creamy balance. I use
Hmm.
like full fat coconut. I like the cream. That's my
Yeah.
vice, is
Hmm.
that creamy texture, because that tea can't cut it, because I want the creamy cream, right?
Mm.
So looking at that, and now Katie and I do things a little bit different, as we all know. We like to drink caffeine with food. A lot of nutritionists
Right.
will say, no, please don't do that. However, you know what? We don't need a jolt of
Hmm.
cortisol and adrenaline coursing through our veins. So enjoy it with your breakfast. You know, I know we always say, don't drink with meals. However, in this case, we're going to say, nice slow sips, enjoy, and go for it. Right.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So there you go. I don't know if we
Right.
walked you into coffee or out of coffee, but now you're well suited and sustainable to do it either way.
Yeah, we'll
Mhm.
figure out what works and what I enjoy.
So, Karen, I kind of want to get back to this journey that you've had because, at the beginning you said I'm probably one on the older end of the spectrum, but in fact, we have a really big majority of clients in their 40s.
Mm.
And I think that's so important to highlight. Another client we had on the show, Melissa, she also is in her 40s. We've had a large percentage of clients that are like, I know I'm probably one of your older ones. I'm like, no. We got like a big bulk of women in their 40s and even their 50s that are struggling with acne. I think it's so important to have this discussion. And thank you for sharing your age with everybody, because there's women in their 40s out there thinking, oh my gosh, I thought I was the only 45-year-old in the world with acne.
Sometimes you feel pretty isolated
Mm-hmm.
in it when you like look around a room or wherever you're at and you're like,
Hmm.
why me?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy to
That's
have those
big.
feelings because we hear
Hmm.
all the time is, how come I have acne and my sister doesn't, my friend
Hmm.
doesn't, my coworker doesn't? Have you ever had those thoughts yourself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Kind of just like, how does this how's this all get worked out?
Mm-hmm. And I always answer that with, it's a combination of things. Is we have to remember that our current health status is everything that's happened to us from conception in the womb all the way up until this instant. And every single one of us has had such vastly different experiences in life. Even twins, right? Even like
Hmm.
identical twins, they're going to have different life experiences. You have different illnesses that pop up. You get things traveling. You have different traumas. You have different medications, different life experiences, and these all add up to our current health status. So we have to remember that us dealing with acne, sure, are all of our things that have happened have manifested at acne, but that other person, could be dealing with IBS or could be dealing with arthritis or could be dealing with, heart issues. Every single one of us, it's just the lifestyle that we've lived is manifesting as differently.
Yeah, we all have our thing. And I almost think some of our traumas and our experiences are even before conception, that they just come from our
Right?
past and passed on through our generations, and that we're all still trying to work through it and figure out what our things are that we're all going to need to work through. But we all have our stuff.
Absolutely. And I think because we actually, oddly enough, we've recorded 2 podcasts today. And the
Mm,
previous podcast we recorded, we talked about generational trauma as well, and
mm,
how like science is beginning to see that the things that have happened for generations past is showing up in your DNA
mhm.
genetically and impacting you today, which I think is so, so fascinating.
Yeah,
Hmm.
definitely.
Yeah.
I love me some epigenetics because
Hmm.
that's the term that you're
Hmm.
coining right there. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so, Karen, now that you've lived this life of dealing with acne and health issues, you're 5.5 months in, you're finishing up this protocol, you've seen all of these wins. Like, what would be, the advice that you would give to somebody else listening that has been in your shoes?
I would say like you're worth it. You're worth the chance, but like you do have to be in a space where you have what you think is the support to do it and the strength to do it. And you can do hard things. You can do hard things, and it's a temporary change for a long term benefit. And there is another side to it. Like it's not going to be just about your skin. It's going to be about your whole health. Like there's an entire program in the KSW where you are learning all kinds of things about. I had no idea about receipts, Chris. I had no idea receipts were that bad.
BPA and receipts.
Yeah, no idea.
Forever chemicals, like a lot of ugly happening in
And
there.
now I'm like, every time a receipt comes to our house, I'm like, what Chris says to get rid of them.
Tongs, garbage.
Oh, so, like I was a cashier at a grocery store
Hmm.
for a long time. And I'm like, how
Hmm.
many receipts have I touched? How has that potentially affected my health along the way? When I was back in my teenage years. So I'm just, there are so many things that it's great to just like keep learning about how to live your best, healthiest life.
Now everybody's Googling receipt paper forever chemicals.
You want me to lobby another one?
Yeah,
Just
Oh,
do
no.
because.
Here she goes.
Paper straws.
Oh, yes.
I don't even want to say this because this is no better. However, I said we're driving home and I said to my husband so that the kids wouldn't see, I'm like, go to Starbucks because I wanted a sugar drink and
Oh,
everything
Chris
there
Brown.
is sugar, right? Now I come home and I load it up with extra water. I dilute it. This, you know, what I mean,
80-20,
blah, blah, blah.
80-20.
It is it. So, anyways, I did that. And there's 2 straws that they hand my husband, and because he's at the thing, and he hands one, and there's like little tiny bobas. Like they got the most toxics of the toxic, but you know, we got to give them something. So I'm like, okay. My daughter goes, Dad, I'm not using a straw. Well, how are you going to eat those little ball things? Dad, there's chemicals in the straw. I'm not using the straw. I'll just wait to the end. Right? Now, I know it's for my benefit because they totally would have been sipping up in that straw if I wasn't there. However, he did not use the straw either.
Yep.
Interesting, right?
I know. It's the forever. I forget when actually Chris told me this. I forget when she told me this, but I'm pretty sure were we eating something and you took it out of my drink?
That sounds like something.
It sounds like something you would do. I'm pretty. I feel like I was.
I would throw it right out.
Yeah, like gone. And I was like, what? She's like, there's forever chemicals in straws. And I was like, what? This whole time we've moved from plastic to forever chemicals? So, but what I'm noticing now at restaurants is they're using sugarcane or avocado pit straws.
Or bamboo.
Yep.
And they still have a little bit of that resin or that plastic. Here's the difference. 1, it's biodegradable. 2, there's other components. 3, why does my straw have to have dye? And if I'm gluten-free, what alcohols had to make that dye?
Here she goes. Down the rabbit hole we go, everybody.
Don't get me started, Karen. Oh my gosh.
Now Karen's going to be ripping straws out of people's drinks at restaurants too.
I think Karen would because she's Team Coffee. And Team Coffee definitely has a very distinct way we like to go about things.
Okay, but I gotta be careful. My name is Karen. I'm not ripping any straws out of
Oh my
people's
gosh.
drinks. Like, come on.
Okay, we'll give you. I know you do. Oh, it's so funny how that's the one name that got stuck with the meme.
I know it kills me.
And you're like, I'm not like that. I swear.
It's okay. So I can make a joke about it before someone else does,
Exactly.
and like stay ahead of it.
You're good. Well, Karen, thank you so much for hopping on, sharing your story. I loved what you said that you're worth it because that's really what it comes down to. That so many of us forget that we're worth the effort and we're worth the investment and we're worth it to do the things to feel better, and that doing things for yourself and sometimes, making yourself a top of that priority list isn't selfish at all. And that by you feeling better, you're able to show up in a much better way for not only yourself, but the rest of the world too.
Yeah, that you're worth the investment financially, in your time, in your efforts, that, you should buy into yourself sometimes. Sometimes you gotta look after yourself before everybody else.
She needs to be our new motivational calendar.
I know. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like, hello. And you're teaching young minds, which I love because you can drip this nice and easy, not abrasive, right? Like all of these things. So, you have the power, and I love that you're using your power. And, self-care is huge. So you're applying it, go for it.
Love it. All right, everybody, another episode here on the Clear Skin Chronicles. Thank you, Karen, for joining us. As always, we will see you next Wednesday. Thanks for hanging out with us this week on the Clear Skin Chronicles. We'll see you next Wednesday with a brand new episode. Remember to subscribe to the show and drop us a review. Sending glowing vibes your way, Katie and Chris.